Welcome everybody out to podcast number 383. Today we are with Nicholas Modig. Can you say hi to everybody?
Hi, everyone.
We're at his house in Sweden, and we're going to talk about respect for people. Stay with us.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome everybody. I hope you're doing well, and I'm really excited about this. Nicholas has been hosting me and a group of other people for a couple of days now, and he was gracious enough to be able to do a podcast with us. So we're going to talk about respect for people today. But first, do you mind doing, everybody knows you, but do you mind doing a little introduction on you and who you are?
Of course. Thank you, Jason. I've been researching about lean for almost 20 years. Was living in Japan as a kid, so I learned Japanese. Given that, I got opportunity when I got into the PhD program to do my study over in Japan, and was let into Toyota. And I studied the Toyota production system, but not in manufacturing. I studied it within the service industry. Actually, the car dealers, the car dealer network. How have they adopted the Toyota production system? But that's a long time ago, 12 years ago. And since then, I've been speaking about it, talking about it, writing about it, and I still do the same shit, you know? So I'm stuck in the lean loop, one could say.
That's funny. While we were walking, Nicholas was taking Reno and me on a walk. He was like, I didn't know what did you say? I didn't know I'd end up being a lean nerd.
No, that's my wife. She said, she's from California, and she said, if I would talk to my younger self, I would never ever see that I would marry a Swedish nerd. So that's my wife.
That's super funny.
Yeah.
Well, so the setting is we're in the living room of a beautiful home out here. What you say, archipelago, or is it? How do you?
Yeah, I think, Stockholm has a lot of islands. I think it's like if it's 70,000 islands in the archipelago, or if it's not even 170,000, it's a lot of islands. That means that a lot of people live out on the islands. Yeah. And I'm one of them, and we are one of them. One of those. We could call it Stockholm archipelago.
Stockholm. So it's like the ocean and the lake is like our roads. So we've been out here. We hosted, or Nicholas has been hosting some of us. We came over here to do some lean collaboration. So we've been having a jamming good time. So when I asked Nicholas about if he would do a podcast, he said, "What's the topic?" And I said, "Respect for." So this is all chosen by me. This wasn't. I kind of surprised him with it, but respect for people. And I'll give you a little bit of context. This is a funny story, but the other day I was at church, and I'm not judging the person that did it. It was just something that triggered my mind. But there was somebody speaking, and I looked down, and this person was sitting with his hands down in his face, and then at other times was just like on the phone. So not participating, not paying attention. And so the person speaking could come out and see certain people that were just like not paying attention. And as a speaker, I know what that means to me. Like, it's like totally sucks the energy out of the room. And the epiphany came, maybe it's habit, maybe it's not a big deal. I wasn't judging him. I'm sure I've done that before, but I just thought, I think the key to fixing it is respect for people. And so it's just been on my mind that I just don't know that I even come close to understanding it. I would like to think that I do, but I don't think I do. So my question is, do you have any stories or experiences or concepts that we could hear that would help us to go in that direction?
Oh, thank you. It's a very important topic. I mean, as a lean researcher or lean airhead, as my wife called me. Sometime I'm only talking about that. the foundation of lean is to focus on flow. And flow means that we work together in a cross-functional way. And that means that we are dependent on each other. And that means if we are dependent on each other, we need teamwork and respect. So it's quite understandable that the foundation of the Toyota way or lean is teamwork and respect. So I think it has always been interesting to tap into that domain, because it's not really operations management or operations strategy that talk about respect and behavioral science, but I think it's the most, or absolutely one of the most important aspects, both when it comes to implementing lean, but in within change management in general. And I'm going to give you 2 stories where I demonstrate what really bad respect is and what good respect is. And it's a personal story. It's a story about me and my dad. So my dad is Magnus. He's born 1948. He's one of the generation who you can ask anything and he always knows it. He's an engineer, you know, there's always the right answer. So if I ask him a question when I was a kid, like, oh, Dad, what's the capital of Canada? He's like, oh, you don't know that, Niklas? Oh, no, that's why I ask you, Dad. Yeah, you know, it's always like he loves if you ask him something because he wants to show that he knows everything. So we have had a lot of fights, but he's also one in the world that I'm very, very close with, because we have had fights, but we're also really good in becoming friends again. And the first story that I want to tell you is that my daddy, and this is quite maybe 10 years ago, my daddy calls me and he says, hi Niklas, I was just at the doctor and he said that I need to lose some weight and start to work out. So I wonder, can I join you and Eric is my brother, to the gym? And I remember that I was just quiet and I said, of course, Daddy, you can join to the gym. And I remember I was laughing. I'll come back to that later. And then I said, well, we're working at, it was a gym called Metropole. And we were there, we had a personal trainer and we thought we were so cool, you know. But he had never been at the gym, my dad. So he bought some workout clothes and he bought a membership, which was quite expensive. And he came there and, you know, he looked like a little rabbit surrounded by 20 wolves when he came in. He was so small and he wasn't the toughest guy on earth. But he knew that I need to work out. So me and my brother, we weren't so nice because we were going with a PT and we were doing our thing and we were so fed up with ourselves. And my dad, we just let him go and he was doing his best, you know, walking a little bit on the treadmill and lifting some weights. And, you know, he didn't like it at all, but he was really motivated. I'm going to do this. I need to get in shape. And then after 1 hour, we go down in the shower and he's so happy. So he's like, guys, you know, let's have a fika and celebrate this. And fika is a Swedish concept. You have experienced a fika. Maybe you can tell all of them, what is a fika?
Fika is where you have a treat or something warm like a coffee or a tea, and it's just like pre-lunch, not too heavy. Celebrate the afternoon chill. Did I get that right?
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah. You eat something sweet and you have just a nice time. You have a cup of coffee and...
And you talk crap.
Exactly. That's usually what you do, you know? No, so he said, guys, we have to celebrate. May I buy you guys a fika? And then I can tell you the worst version of Nicholas Modig comes out. And I tell him, Dad, first of all, you haven't moved. You're not even sweaty. And now you're going to have a fika. Do you actually think that you're going to lose weight? It took me 10 seconds to say that sentence. It was not only the words, it was the way I said it. And I remember his look. He just looked at me as a wet dog. And he said, oh, you're right, Niklas. And he took his bag and he left the gym. And I could see he was really sad. And he didn't feel that he succeeded at all. And I felt so stupid. And I can tell you that I've hated myself for that comment. And I remember I called him the day after. Hi, Dad, we killed the gym yesterday. You want to come? He said, oh, I'm busy at work, Then I called him the other day and I said, hey, come on, Dad, let's go to the gym, pump up the jam. We have to go. So, oh, no, I'm feeling a little bit in my leg. I can't go. I called him 5 days. At the end, he didn't answer because he didn't want to go to the gym again. And I can tell you that I fixed that. It took me 10 seconds to kill that little will and energy inside him. I want to get in shape. So I'm going to come back to that story. That's the first story. It's a very good demonstration of not respect. The other story happened a couple of years later. We were then living as neighbors, and by some reason, I'm not 20 any longer like your son, so meaning that I have a little bit stuff on my stomach. It's not a ripped six-pack. So by some reason, we came to the conclusion that we're going to do power walks in the morning. So me and my dad, we were out on Södermalm, it's called, the southern part of Stockholm, and we were doing these power walks. And after some time, I felt he was slow, and I was this close to say something to him. But then I remembered, Niklas, think twice before you open up your mouth. And then I looked at my dad, and he was actually doing well. And then I was thinking, okay, how shall I behave here so he feels like a king? So then I was slowing down a little bit, and I come up next to him. I chose to slow down a little bit more. And he liked to be right. So when he saw that I started to get tired, his speed started to increase. And he got this, little nasty Bruce Willis smile on his lips, And I said, okay, now I'm doing something right here. And when he was like 2 meters ahead of me, I said, Dad, come on, chill down. Have you been practicing? You're killing me here. Take it a little bit easy. And then he was full-blown happy. He's like, come on, Niklas. Didn't we say we're going to do a power walk? And then he almost started to jog. He increased the speed like 30 or 40%. And he was almost running. I said, wow, Dad, I'm really, really impressed. You're really killing it. Wow. How have you come to this condition? And he was so happy, He's like, Niklas, when I was a kid, I played badminton 4 times a week. And that means I think I still have it in my legs, 50 years later. I think I still have it in my legs. And he was talking about, power walks, that's my thing. And he was so happy. And then we came back. He was living in an apartment like 50 meters away. So he dropped me off at my house. And he said, oh, thank you for the power walk. And it was a high five. And then I remember the next morning at 6:15 comes a text message from a man who never wakes up before 8. And it's 6:15 a.m. And it's like a text message, rise and shine, Sonny. It's time for a power walk. And then it was, the smiley with glasses, And
That's cute.
yeah, it's a very cute story. And what I want to tell you with this, well, if we think a scale where 1 is to really disrespect someone, that's Niklas at the gym. And then we have 10, that's Niklas at the power walk. I think, how shall I behave? And how should I communicate with this individual in order to make him feel larger than life? So it's a scale 1 to 10. And I usually talk about putting people in a box. Do we put people in a negative box or do we put people in a positive box?
Yeah.
And we can have 1 to 10 there. It's a very, very, very simple scale to understand. Niklas at the gym is a 1. I killed his enthusiasm in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's not only what I said, it was the way I said it and probably the way I look at him as well. And then we have Niklas at the power walk where we got a completely different effect. And what I think is interesting, if we really understand the scale, it's quite easy to do a self-assessment, asking yourself, how do I treat my partner, my wife or husband from a scale 1 to 10? Or how does my partner treat me from scale 1 to 10, or go into your work. If I were to ask everyone that you're working with, Jason, and I were to teach them this scale, what would be the average grade when it comes to respect?
Yeah.
And, or if I were to ask your children, if you get daddy a grade from 1 to 10,
Yeah.
what
It's tough.
no, it is tough.
Yeah.
But it's a very relevant question, because you start to like, whoa, who am I, and who do I want to be? And I think it's not relevant whether you give yourself a 2 or an 8. What's interesting is to be conscious about it and start thinking, what do I actually need to do in order to increase and push it towards a 10? And again, it's not only about what we say, it can be how we look at people. If Linda comes in and I say, "Hi, Linda, so nice to see you." But if Peter comes in, I just look at him and then I look at my phone.
Yeah.
I mean, just that behavior puts him in a 1. That's a 1.
Yeah.
The way I look at him, or we talked about toilets yesterday. What does the toilet
For the workers, right?
for the workers? Yeah, is it a 10 or a 1? You can apply this to everything. What the facilities look like, how we look at our workers, how we talk to them. Do we give them a big, happy Bruce Willis smile?
Yeah.
And say, "Hi, man, are you here?" Do we even know their names?
Yeah.
What is a 10? And I believe that everyone can take this simple principle, if you call it the respect scale, 1 to 10. Ask themselves, who are you? And what grade would you get from other people? And what grade do you get yourself? And I think that's a very good starting point, just to start reflecting, who do I want to be? Do I want to be a 1 or a 10 or a 5?
And so when you're saying the stories, I was like, so first of all, the story with your dad, I was like about to cry. Those are 2 really good comparisons. But the concept when you're like, what do I get as a dad? For a minute there, it was like, I feel a little bit sad. But then I think, like, it's actually an opportunity.
Yeah. And I've been given this story many times. And I would say 50% of the time, it's 1 who starts to cry, because they get the connection to start become conscious about their own behavior. Who have I been?
Yeah.
Do I come in and see my wife and say, "Wow, you look so beautiful today," with a big smile and give her a warm hug? That's a 10.
Yeah.
Of course, you cannot do that every day, but I think that we're so unconscious about that we can be a 1 many times and we don't even know about it. And that's, I think, when you start reflecting about it, and it has been so many times when people start crying, and I say, be happy about it, because now you see it.
Yeah.
And you can start changing it.
Yeah. I know there's 2 other things, if you have time, I think we're right on time. So I know that it's so just let me say this for the people that are listening. It's an interesting experience, because when we first got here, Nick, you were talking to us about your mother and your Japanese mother when you were abroad, and you were an exchange student, right?
Yeah, in Japan.
And just like she used to take you everywhere and take you to I think there were temples, right? Just the different religious places, and how she would just take care of you and the whole 9. And so I've talked on the podcast before, my grandma Doris was like that. She was like your Japanese or grandmother or mother, or like your real mother, like super sweet, took care of me and all these things. And so this whole weekend, and you wouldn't want me to say this, but I have to say it for the people listening. It's like when the Americans came over, and even the Norwegians that were here, we've been waited on like handed foot, like we're just hugged in this big blanket of warmth and good meals, food, accommodations, kindness, the whole 9. And I just see, like, when you and Bjorn and Jorn were serving us, like, you're so happy, when Danielle's serving us, like, you're just so happy. It's a little bit uncommon for me, which I was telling, and I'm not trying to embarrass you or anything, but it's a little bit uncommon to me because we're so busy, phones, work, or whatever. It's almost like we don't see the other humans. I do this up until now, not anymore. And I just wonder, you said something that got me thinking, if we can become aware of it, we're not aware of it. I'd like just one thought, one story, or one just insight. How can we become more aware? You had told me, and you don't have to repeat the stories, but you had told me 2 stories the other day about some respect for people stories, which you thought were okay, but I thought they were great. So people will listen to this podcast and say, great, there's an opportunity. How do we become more sensitive to this? How can we program ourselves to see?
No, but I think it's, I mean, how now if I say the respect scale 1 to 10, you know exactly what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
I could say, that wasn't nice of you, Jason. That was a 2. And you would feel, oh, wow.
Yeah.
You would know exactly what I meant. And I mean, if we just talk about the respect, I mean, I almost think it's a trivial word, because everyone says that, of course, I respect people.
Yeah.
But we have to give it meaning. And I think by giving stories to demonstrate, this is a 1 and this is a 10, to give stories or give examples,
Yeah.
then you have something. It's like to have a Christmas tree. That builds the Christmas tree, and then you can decorate it with things. And what I mean with decoration, that is, you could, now we can talk about respect. And I said, that's a 7. Oh, wow, I met this woman at the shop. She was a 10. And you know exactly,
Yeah.
she treated me like I was an angel or like I was a king.
Yeah.
So I think that's the starting point, to give words meaning with stories, and then we can start to apply them. And it's very simple. I mean, how long have we been doing this? Yeah, 20 minutes. It took me probably 10 minutes to get the common understanding of what respect is. Now, for the rest of our lives, I literally hope that we will have contact. We can talk about respect, and we have 2 stories. But the next time when you say, I met this old man, he was a 2. Yeah. And what did he do? Yeah. I mean, you met some idiot Swedish guy in Stockholm the other day who threatened you. Yeah, he was probably a 1, but that's a new story.
Yeah.
Adding up to the understanding of respect.
Yeah.
So I think that's the starting point to give us, if we call these principles or whatever,
Yeah.
which we can use as almost glasses when we filter our behavior, others' behavior. And I mean, I think that's the trampoline that actually kickstart continuous improvement. We need to have some kind of possibility to measure behaviors, which is quite abstract. But now I can see, I met a woman, she was 9. Yeah. Oh, wow, what did she do? How did she treat you so well? So I think that's a good starting point to actually just get a common language to start communicate with each other effectively.
So I didn't know what I was going to get when I asked that question, but so 2 things. I really like it because the other day, I told you Katie sent me that YouTube video that said, why did the ancient civilizations not talk about the color blue? It was because they didn't have a word for it. They described it as different colors of black, like it was, dark, not so dark, a little bit, and so we have to have a word or a scale to define it. The other thing, Katie, will like that you single-handedly took us from objectifying women and men on a scale of 1 to 10 and switched it over to a respect scale. So now if I say, oh, she's a 10, like,
then we know it's a really nice woman. That could treat you with respect and dignity. Yeah, I like those 10s.
Yeah. And, damn it, I was going to say something else. The other thing is and this is the last thing I'll say, is it elevates us from, a lot of times, at least we do this in the U.S. You probably do it here. Maybe we're also international. It's probably the same. But this person did something, so then we say, well, this person deserved this, or it's like, as the behavior starts to go down, it just ticks down, right? Yeah. And the concept of a 10, like if I want to be a 9 or a 10, it's like you always say, irrespective of how they treated you, I can be a 9 or a 10, right? And I think that elevates us to, if we're actually scoring that, it's not well, did I treat them the exact same way? No, it's, did I treat them as a 9 or a 10, regardless of what they did? And I think that elevates us. So I love that.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I mean, if someone, maybe if you meet someone who treats you 5, maybe you don't react, but we will react if it's a 10 or 9 or if it's a 1 or 2. And what I think is interesting, if we are so unfortunate that we run into a 1 or 2, then we have to ask ourselves, shall I be a person who trigger a negative spiral?
Yeah.
So if they give me a 2, I will give them a 1. And then it starts. Or shall I be a person that triggers positive spirals? So even if they treat me with a 2, I mean, maybe I don't go to 10, but I could at least say, hey, guy, I didn't appreciate that. And then give something positive back. Because I think that's where it starts. Just starting positive spirals. I think, how do you want to be remembered and who do you want to be? And it's just a choice. You will always meet 1, 2, 3s all the time.
Yeah.
But if we just choose to say, okay, they probably have a reason for being grumpy. You have no clue what they've experienced. And again, as you said, I almost started to cry. That's about that you were unaware about maybe your behavior towards your children. And that's totally fine. A 1 and a 2 are, I believe, that they are probably 100% unaware about their behavior as well.
Yeah.
Or at least, I hope so. But
We have to assume that.
yeah, we have to assume that
Yeah.
because I think very few people are evil. People are unconscious or unaware about their behaviors, but maybe they will increase their awareness if we actually are a positive spiral. So, okay, here was a 2. Let's give him a 9 and see how he or she reacts.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that's a pattern interruption, which usually like, whoa,
Yeah.
that maybe would make them cry. It's, oh, I'm sorry, I was an asshole. You don't get that smile and that sorry if you go into a negative spiral. So I totally agree with you.
And as lean nerds, we have to, and we'll close this podcast down, but as lean nerds, you said Toyota has a feedback loops for everything, right? Every condition triggers a reaction or a behavior. And so if you really want to live a lean life, if there's a person that's in a 1 or a 2, that should trigger a response to bring them up to a 9 or a 10 anyway, right? We're trying to fix the problem.
No, but I mean, if you really want to create flow within an organization,
Yeah.
then we have to work together like a relay game. I run first, you get the baton, and then you run. I mean, you cannot give the baton with a 1 or 2. You give them with 8, 9, or 10.
Yeah.
That's how you create flow. So it's quite obvious that teamwork and respect is the foundation of lean or the Toyota production system, because it's all about flow. And then we are dependent of each other, and then we need to respect each other. So if we can just start with, when implementing lean, let's be 10.
Yeah.
I can show you that the flow creation goes so much faster instead of being the grumpy old man and say, I'm going to be a 1. I don't feel like this.
So we just created the international scale of respect. I like that. So we have a tradition on this podcast. You probably know, but we say on we go. So on we go. And what it means is like, we're here, but we're going to keep.
We are on 10. We're going to push it to 11 now.
Exactly.
Okay.
So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, on we go. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.